Welcome to the Design Studio for Dreamers. Unlock new creative design and video skills every week. Join us at the Creative Lab. Presented by No Doubt Studio.
What's up and welcome to the Creative Lab. My name is Nick David No Doubt and I'm here to teach you everything I know about how to create fun and engaging content for your brand or business. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing because you won't want to miss out on the really cool, fun, and creative content that we've got for you guys. So, without further ado, welcome to the Creative Lab. In this episode, I'm going to teach you guys how to create some animated logos using GIFS in Photoshop. Now, if you remember from the last video, frame animations is just adding one photo and another photo and then creating a series of photos in between. This is a really cool and simple way to add a whole lot of flair to maybe logos that you've already created or designs that you've already made, spice them up, or you guys can create some really dope and interesting content by yourselves just using this style of graphic editing. So let's get into it. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Creative Lab. Glad you're here and I can't wait to get into this episode. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's get into it. Today's episode, we're going to be creating animated logos. Here's an example of what we're going to be creating. So this is a logo that my buddy Jack designed, and I decided how cool would it be if we could actually get those barber stripe poles to move. And so that's what I did, and today I'm going to teach you guys how to do that same thing. So first thing we're going to do is pull up the logo. So I'll leave my buddy's information. This is my buddy Jack at Jack Designs. I'll leave his information down in the description so that you guys can check out his work because he's pretty awesome. So what we're going to do first though is cut out this whole middle portion of the stripes, and then we're going to add our own stripes. So first thing I'm going to do is press P. P is going to bring us our pen tool, and by selecting our pen tool, we can cut out a custom shape from this image because it's a flat design. So right now we're going to right click on our layer and we want to rasterize our layer first. And that way we'll have a nice clean image to cut away from. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to zoom in to the spot that we want. And that's going to be right about here, because we're cutting it straight down the edge, but we don't want it too close because you might get some stray red lines if you're not too careful when you're going straight down. It just has little colored stray hairs that throw off your design. So we're gonna go a little bit outside of that and make sure we're cutting away from it. So right here, we'll start our first point, and our second point will be about in the same spot on the opposite side. Again, we want it touching the gold because we want it to make sure it's cutting away from that. And we're going to line it up to be about like that. We want to cut off a little bit just because we want to know that it's a clean color across the whole board. And we're going to select this point again and go down to the bottom and find that same spot along the bottom of the base on that barbershop pole. And we're going to select. With A, you can use your direct selection tool and realign this up so that it's a straight line again. And this might throw some of your other curves off, but that's okay because you can still go back and edit them. And it's not too terrible to get them back realigned. You just gotta play with it a little bit. It can be annoying, but hey. So now that we have that there, press P again, pen tool, and we're going to select our next spot, which is over here. Again, we want it to be a little bit around that edge, and it's going to bring it right probably to right there is good. Select it again and just finish our selection. I'm just going to grab that. So now that we have our selection, we're going to press P again and right click on it on your stroke, and we're going to go to make selection. And because we don't want any blurring or feathering on the edge of our lines, we're just going to hit OK. and that's going to give us a nice crisp selection that we can cut away from. So press W. W will give you your quick selection tool, and we're going to make sure that we're on the layer that we want to cut away from, which is this light layer, and right click into it and do layer via cut, and this is going to cut a copy or a slice of our image out so that now we can add our own piece. So you should have just an image with a hole cut out, and you should have your light image and then a background. So next, now that we have cut out our stripes, we're going to add our own. Now first we're going to add a new layer and turn off our base layer. So make sure that we're on our new selected layer, and we're going to make our stripes now. So we want our stripes to be about, we want them to be about, maybe about yay big, something like that. And by pressing G, we can pull up our paint bucket tool and go to the red. We want probably about a red like this, and let's fill that. Okay, Command D will deselect your selection, and we want to slant this. So by pressing Command T and holding down Option, we can build our slant, and we want it to have a really hard slant, almost like that. Let's see what that looks like with our layer turned on. That's a nice good angle. Maybe we'll pull it down a little bit more, but that's about it. And so now what we're going to do is create our stripe effect. So I'm going to move it up a little bit and hold down Option and create another copy just by clicking and dragging and holding Option. So hold Option again, click and drag, and you can create multiple layers like this by holding Option, clicking and dragging. And I'm just going to create a couple more, and then what I'm going to do is align them all so that they'll be evenly spaced. So by going up to the top of your stripes and holding down Shift and selecting the base of your stripes, you can go up here and position them so that they're all equally spaced apart. And let's see what that looks like with our layer turned on. And that's pretty good. So we can do Command T with all of our stripes selected and just move them up and down to see how that effect looks. I think that looks pretty good. So now that we have all those selected, we can do Command E, and Command E will kind of compress them all onto one layer so that you can just click and drag the same file without the individual stripes anymore. You'll have a solid bar to manipulate. Now, if you remember from our last video, we're going to go to Windows and pull up our timeline tool. Now this is going to give us our frame animations. The first thing we're going to do is make sure that we can see where we want our last spot on our stripes to end. So we want to Command T with our barbershop layer on. We want to grab our stripes and Command T and bring that all the way to the bottom to our last stripe so that it ends almost with maybe 3 stripes, or just about 3, just like that. Okay, and we're going to just select and click by clicking, and then we're going to create a frame here by clicking this sticky note looking thing, and we're going to do the same thing except moving it back to the top. So again, we're going to grab our stripes and bring this all the way back to the top with about 3 stripes left, so maybe something like that. Now this should give us the effect we want to achieve. So by clicking and selecting our first and second layer, we're going to go down to this almost matrix type bullet and select that, and we want to add about 18 frames in between just to see, because that's about 2 seconds worth of animation, which is about 10 frames per second. So we want to add 18 because we already have 2, and that'll give us 20 frames. So let's see how this animation plays. Very nice. And because we chose to keep our end frame similar to our beginning frame, it creates a nice seamless flow for that barbershop pole. Pretty cool, huh? So if you like this effect, then there's a whole lot more uses for it, kind of like this. So you can create some really cool kind of LED light effects using very similar styles by positioning frame animations in a certain way and then animating the space in between. If you guys like that, then let me know and I'll teach you guys how to do more things with frame animation. So thanks for stopping by the Creative Lab, and make sure you guys check in next week and check out all of our latest content. So I hope that helped, guys. And if you like frame animation and you want me to do some more examples of how to create some really cool different effects using that, leave some comments below and maybe I'll do some more videos about different ways you can use it. And don't forget, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss out on the next latest cool trick to add value to your graphics and stuff. And remember, hit that like button too, and have no doubt.